The moment I found out she was lying, something inside me cracked. Not because she deceived me, but because I had defended her, fought for her, when no one else would. What happened next tore apart a friendship that had survived 2 decades, for breakups, a wedding, and the birth of a child. And it all started with a suitcase packed for the wrong city. My best friend Dana, 36, had just split from her husband, Rob, 42. It was messy, brutal even, but I never imagined how dark things would get. I'm 38, and my husband, Luke, 35, has been my partner for nearly 11 years. The 4 of us, Dana, Rob, Luke, and me, had practically been a family. Sunday barbecues, weekend fishing trips, New Year's Eve countdowns. Dana and I? We go way back to community college. We were dorm mates who became soulmates, the kind of friendship where you finish each other's sentences and keep the ugliest secrets safe. Dana stood beside me at my wedding. I held her bouquet at hers. When she gave birth to Lily, her now 11-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, I was the one pacing outside the delivery room with cold coffee and trembling hands. Rob came into Dana's life when Lily was 3. He took her in as his own, called her Squirt, helped her with science projects, and taught her how to ride a bike. The man adored her. And we adored them. So when Rob said he was done, that he wanted a divorce, Dana collapsed. Not physically, but emotionally. She confessed to me that for over half a year, things had been falling apart. The promotion she'd taken at her logistics firm 3 years back was supposed to be a win. It tripled her income, gave her a sleek office with glass walls and her name on the door, but it also pulled her away from home for 4, sometimes 5 months out of the year. Late-night calls, early flights, missed recitals. Rob, who ran his own home-based woodworking shop, had been holding the family together with splinters and glue. And he was done. Dana told me he resented her job, accused her of putting work before family. He begged, to take a local role, to just be home more. She kept brushing it off, thinking he'd come around. He didn't. The final straw? A business trip she extended without telling him, forgetting entirely about a family hiking trip they'd been planning for weeks. When she returned, the garage was empty, his tools were gone, and so was Rob. She called me crying, repeating over and over, "I didn't think he'd actually leave." The hurt in her voice was sharp, but it only got worse. Because 3 weeks later, Rob showed up with Lily on a Sunday, only to walk in on Dana with 2 guys, half her age, drunk, half naked, splashing in the hot tub like it was spring break. Empty bottles everywhere, clothes on the floor, Dana so wasted she didn't even realize what day it was. Lily saw enough to piece it together. The next morning, Dana couldn't remember a thing. But the texts she sent Rob that night were unforgivable, ripping into his manhood, calling him a failure, saying she never loved him. Rob showed Luke. Luke showed me. I barely recognized the words. This wasn't Dana. Or maybe it was, and I had just been too blind to see it. But that wasn't the worst part. Not even close. Because when Dana packed for a business trip to Phoenix, I noticed something strange: flannel shirts, snow boots, a hoodie from Seattle, and a Mariners jersey. She doesn't watch baseball. She's never even been to Seattle. And I had a sickening feeling I knew exactly where she was headed, and who she was going to see. I should have trusted my gut. But when I confronted her, I hoped, maybe desperately, that she'd laugh it off, say it was nothing. Instead, I got silence. Long, heavy, suffocating silence. Then she admitted it. Dana wasn't going to Phoenix. She was flying to Seattle to see her ex, the biological father of her daughter. A man who, 13 years ago, slammed the door in her face when she told him she was pregnant. Who called her names, hit her, and left her bleeding on a sidewalk outside a bar. I had flown to that city to pick her up back then. I carried her bags and what was left of her soul back home. And now? She wanted to let him back in. "He's changed," she said. "He wants to be part of Lily's life. He says he's sober now. He has a job, a house, a dog. He's trying." I stared at her in disbelief. You're letting him near Lily? She flinched but didn't answer. All I could think about was the night I sat up with Dana while she held a crying newborn, trembling with postpartum anxiety and bruises she refused to acknowledge. And now she was about to willingly reintroduce that trauma back into her daughter's world. I told her flat out, "If you step on that plane, we're done. I won't stand by and watch you torch your life, and hers." She got quiet. Then she whispered, "I'm a grown woman. I can take care of myself." That line hurt more than I expected. Not because of what it said, but what it didn't. She didn't deny it. She was really going. I walked out without saying goodbye. When I got home, I told Luke everything. Every detail. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just held me as I cried. 3 days later, Dana texted from Seattle. A photo of the Space Needle. A caption, "Sometimes you have to go back to move forward." I wanted to throw my phone across the room. That night I sat on the floor of my closet with a glass of wine and a folder I hadn't opened in years. Old photos of us. Sleepovers. Vegas trips. Her wedding. The birth of Lily. I stared at our smiles, wondering how the woman in those pictures turned into a stranger with my best friend's face. But that's not all. Because the next day, Lily called me. Crying. She'd found messages on her mom's iPad. Late-night texts from her biological father, messages that made her skin crawl. He was talking like they were already a family. Calling her my girl. Asking her to call him Dad. She was scared. Confused. "I don't want to go with him," she sobbed. "I don't want to leave." I promised her she wouldn't. That I'd never let that happen. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. If Dana wouldn't protect her daughter, maybe I would. When I was 19, I got a call at 3 a.m. from a payphone in Tacoma. Dana's voice was barely audible. "He kicked me out," she whispered. "I have nowhere to go." She was 6 months pregnant. It was freezing outside. I didn't ask questions. I booked the first flight I could find, borrowed my roommate's car, and drove 3 hours through snow to find her huddled on a bench outside a diner, wearing his old hoodie and holding a torn backpack like it was body armor. That night, I swore I'd never let anyone hurt her again. Which is why it shattered me to realize that now, she was the one doing the hurting. Lily had confided in me before. Small things. Her mom forgetting to pick her up. Finding empty wine bottles under the kitchen sink. A weird guy sleeping on the couch who smelled like cigarettes. But until that call, she never sounded scared. Now she did. Dana had gone from survivor to liability. And her daughter was collateral damage. I did what I swore I never would. I called Rob. He picked up on the first ring. "Is Lily okay?" I told him everything. The hot tub incident, the texts, the lies about Phoenix, the trip to Seattle, the messages Lily found. There was a pause on the line. Then he said quietly, "I'm going to file for emergency custody." That should have felt like betrayal. Like I was siding with someone against my best friend. But all I felt was relief. Because deep down, I knew Dana was gone. The woman who taught me how to parallel park, who stayed up with me during finals week eating gummy bears and watching reruns of Grey's Anatomy, who once drove 3 hours to bring me soup when I had mono, she wasn't here anymore. In her place was someone reckless. Dangerous. Self-absorbed and spiraling. The kind of woman who'd forget her daughter's birthday, then blame it on her calendar app. And when the custody papers were delivered to Dana's hotel in Seattle, she called me. She didn't cry. She raged. "You stabbed me in the back," she snarled. "After everything I did for you." But that's just it. She kept framing it like I owed her loyalty for the past, as if loyalty didn't have a breaking point. I told her, "I don't owe you silence when a child is in danger." She hung up. I haven't heard from her since. But here's the twist. A week later, I got a handwritten letter in the mail. From Dana's daughter. It was only 3 lines. "Thank you for keeping me safe. I miss Mom, but I feel better now. You're my real aunt." I cried harder than I ever did when Dana left. Because even if I lost a best friend, I might have saved a little girl's future. 2 weeks after the custody filing, I opened my front door and found Dana standing on my porch. No warning. No apology. Just a forced smile and a paper Starbucks cup trembling in her hand. "Hey," she said, like she hadn't just disappeared into Seattle with a monster and tried to drag her daughter into it. I stared at her. "You shouldn't be here." She shrugged. "Thought we could talk. You know. Like old times." The audacity was so absurd I almost laughed. But her eyes, bloodshot, glassy, weren't joking. She looked exhausted. Gaunt. Her once blowout curls were tied into a limp ponytail, and the nail polish she used to obsess over was chipped down to uneven edges. "Rob's poisoning her against me," she muttered, stepping past me into the hallway like she owned the place. "She barely answers my texts. He's trying to erase me." I didn't stop her from walking in. I didn't offer her a seat. I just watched her unravel. "Do you remember when we used to say we'd be old ladies on the same porch swing someday?" she asked, pacing. "What happened to that? What happened to us?" I finally said it out loud. "You lied to me. You lied to everyone. And you scared your daughter." She dropped the coffee cup. It bounced once on the tile, splashing lukewarm foam onto her boots. "Scared her?" she repeated, almost mocking. She found a few texts. "That's not abuse." I flinched. "Don't twist this." But she kept going. "I'm the one who kept that family afloat. While Rob played with his little tools in the garage, I was flying across the country to pay for ballet lessons and summer camps. And now everyone's punishing me because I wanted 5 days of peace?" "It wasn't peace," I snapped. "It was escape. From responsibility. From your daughter." The mask slipped then. Her lips tightened. "You always thought you were better than me," she hissed. "Just because you stayed in your little bubble with your perfect husband and your perfect life." I wanted to scream. "No, I thought you were better than this." But I didn't. Because that's when her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and for a second, I saw panic flicker across her face. It was a notification from a rideshare app. Destination, County Courthouse. She hadn't come to talk. She came to try and convince me to testify for her. To help her fight the emergency custody petition. "I need you," she whispered. For a split second, the old Dana flickered through, the one who braided my hair before every job interview, who knew my favorite snack when I was sad, who used to say we were soulmates even if the world fell apart. But that Dana had already left the building. This version was transactional. Desperate. And utterly unrecognizable. "I'm sorry," I said. "But I won't help you hurt Lily again." Her mouth trembled. She turned to leave. At the door, she paused. "You'll regret this," she said quietly. Then she was gone. But that's not the end. Because later that night, I found out she'd already contacted Lily. And what Dana said to that little girl nearly destroyed me. That night, Lily called me again. Her voice cracked as she said, "Mom told me you only helped me because you hate her." It hit me like a brick to the chest. All the sleepovers, the cupcakes we baked together, the way she used to squeeze my hand twice during movies, that was love. Uncomplicated, unquestioning, unconditional love. And now Dana was trying to rewrite it. To poison her daughter's memory of everything we built. I pulled over and sat on the shoulder of the highway, headlights whizzing past as I blinked back tears. "Do you believe that?" I asked. Lily hesitated. "I don't know." Her voice was so small. So I told her the truth. All of it. I told her about the night I drove to Seattle and found her mom bleeding and pregnant and scared. I told her how I held Dana's hand through the worst year of her life. How I made her scrambled eggs when she couldn't get out of bed. How I changed my own schedule to pick Lily up from daycare when Dana got stuck in traffic. I told her how much I loved her. Still love her. That nothing her mom said could erase that. Lily just said, "I'm glad you're still here." The next day, I filed for temporary guardianship. Rob and I sat down with a lawyer. With Dana spiraling and threatening to pull Lily out of school for a fresh start, we couldn't take chances. The court granted it, pending a full review. Just enough to protect her. That night, Dana blew up my phone. Voicemails, texts, even an email titled, "You took everything." She accused me of betrayal, said I was jealous of her freedom, of her life. Her life. A motel room, 2 DUIs, a child she barely called anymore, and a man who used to beat her. That was the life she was fighting for? When the court hearing came, Dana didn't even show up. Her lawyer cited travel complications. Rob and I sat there, hands clenched, stomachs knotted. But it was done. Lily stayed with him full-time. I got visitation. We see each other every Friday. Last week we made lasagna, and she told me a joke she made up about ducks. It wasn't even funny. But I laughed until I cried. Because she's still in there, whole, bright, full of hope. And Dana? I don't know where she is. Seattle, maybe. Or Vegas. She posted a photo last week from a rooftop bar with the caption, "Living for me now." Her smile looked empty. She never apologized. And maybe that's for the best. Because forgiveness doesn't always mean reconnection. Sometimes it means protecting what you love from the people who've lost themselves completely. I lost my best friend. Rob lost his wife. But Lily? She didn't lose us. She found her real family. And in the end, maybe that's enough.